Thank you, Alexis, and thank you all for being here this morning. It's truly my honor to be here. I'm here this morning to talk about personal change and personal success. And I'll tell you a little bit about my story and what I've learned, and hopefully impart to you what you can do so you can be successful and you can help others. So for me, when I think about change and personal success, it hasn't always been a linear path. In fact, for me, it's been a windy road, and when I think about it, it's been more like driving on a foggy night where you can only see a few yards ahead at a time, and you can't really see where you're going. But then, with perseverance, a little bit of stress, with your hands on the wheel, you get to where you're going, and then the fog lifts and you've arrived. And I kind of feel that that's how my career has progressed, where I didn't really know where I was headed until many years down the line, and it all came together. And I can tell you, and I know many of you in the room, and you know me, and you know my story, but the honest truth of it is, it didn't come to me until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And it was a very hard conversation that I had with a colleague at my office who was talking to me about being a little bit different in the law firm environment. I was different because I kind of did my own thing. I kind of marched to my own drummer and my own beat because I practiced law and focused on that, but I also spent a good amount of time in the community. And he looked at me and he said, "Jerri, you know what you are? You're a citizen lawyer." And I looked at him and I thought, I haven't heard that term. It's a little bit of an arcane term. And he said, "Jerri, look it up. That's you in a nutshell." So I did. And you know, there are a lot of definitions out there of what a citizen lawyer is. And I looked at it, but at its core, it's a lawyer who practices law in the community, does good work, but also invests in the community, civic involvement, community involvement, which is part and parcel of being, again, the citizen lawyer. And I took a step back, and first I kind of thought it was a negative, but then later I thought, I'll take that. I'll take that label. And I know today you'll be hearing from 2 other citizen lawyers here in the San Diego community, both Lynn Shank and Michelle Larac, and I'm just honored to be in their company today. So about personal success. Again, the road hasn't been clear, but it's come together. And as far as my story, I grew up here in Southeast San Diego in the Paradise Hills area. My parents are immigrants, high school education only. And I went to UC San Diego, frankly, because I didn't have a choice. I had very strict parents. I couldn't move out of San Diego even though I wanted to go to the East Coast, but you know what? I didn't have a counselor. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone tell us that we could afford it through scholarships. We didn't have that guidance, so I went to UCSD. I'll come back to that because it's the coolest thing that I've done. So I went to UCSD, but you know what? I had a really tumultuous time on campus. Why? My parents got a divorce. And being in an Asian family, it wasn't really common back in the early 80s. And so I was really out of sorts, and my world turned upside down, and I was below the curve. And didn't do so well because, again, it was just a tumultuous time and I was lost. I thought I was going to UCSD to be a doctor. Well, okay, fast forward, I'm not. I'm an attorney. But long story short, I took some time off of school, picked myself up, and, you know, was determined to move forward. I changed my major to psychology. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be a research scientist. So I graduated. I was pretty darn average. Not a leader at school, didn't do anything outstanding, just kind of was average. But I graduated. And I got a terrific job. And in fact, I've got a job at the Salk Institute, world famous. And if you had a goal of being a research scientist, wow, what a start. But life happens. I got married, and guess what? My husband at the time was in the military, so that means what? You move. And I remember being crushed, but you got to make that hard choice. So we moved to Hawaii, and I had to start all over. And they didn't have life sciences like they do here in San Diego and Hawaii. So I ended up thinking, what am I going to do? I talked my way into my first job in human resources. And then I also enrolled for night school to get my MBA. And that's where, in my MBA program, we were required to take a business law class. And we were required to go to the courthouse. And that was the first time I had ever been to a courthouse, first time I've ever seen lawyers in action, and the first time I ever saw a judge, let alone Asian judges in Hawaii. And that really left a strong impression on me. And I had a fleeting thought of going to law school, but didn't think it could happen, of course, for financial reasons and the husband, etc. But again, fast forward, we moved back to California, and life happens. Another kind of setback, a divorce. And it happens. It happens to many people. But again, my world is turned upside down. But at the time, I was working here in San Diego for a local financial institution. And with the support of my employer and my boss, I took the leap and went to law school. And really, that's where I found my calling. I did well in law school. I went to California Western here in San Diego. And then clerked for a judge for a year, and then worked at my firm, and have been there ever since. And since being at my firm, I've had the great fortune and the great opportunity to be able to not only practice law, but then again spend time in the community. I spend time now mentoring youth, at-risk students. I assist when I can in issues of domestic violence and in family violence, and something else that's that I'm very passionate about, and that is working in diversity and inclusion matters. And so in talking to students and talking to young professionals, when I sit back on what helped me get through my murky road in the fog, two things. One is having grit and resiliency. You know, to be able to pick yourself off that floor and get up, suck it up, and move on. So grit and resiliency. And two, something that is very, very important that you probably don't recognize until later, but having a mentor and a sponsor, somebody to help you along the way. And remember when I said, when I got a divorce, I was working here at a financial institution. With the support of my boss, I went to law school. She was the #1 instrumental person who set my trajectory in a different path. And what she did was subtle. It wasn't, you know, with big fanfare or whatnot. She was my boss. So she helped me to be a good human resources professional. She helped me to be a good manager, but she also taught me how to think. She challenged me. She asked me questions on why I believed a certain political view, why I believed X. And when I responded, I don't know, because my friends are, or my parents believed it, she challenged me to read, to learn more about current events, to learn more about art, and to be more aware of who I was as an individual. She taught me how to think. And so she was a true mentor to me. She was the one who told me, Jerri, you're more than, you know, this human resources job here. You can go to law school, you can do it. And I was scared. But with her encouragement, I did it. And what's great is she is totally 180 from me. She is a petite Jewish woman from New York that's, you know, spunky and sassy, but for some reason, she took an interest in me and helped me along the way. And what was so very cool is she sat in the row with my mother at my law school graduation, and my mentor was there when I was sworn in as president of the San Diego County Bar Association. And we're still friends, and we keep in touch, but she has been my life mentor. So mentoring has been key in my life, and I've certainly had mentors in my law career. So I have my life mentor, but then I've had mentors in my law career, and maybe it hasn't been mentors that have spanned for years or for decades, like my life mentor, my old boss, but micro-mentoring. Lawyers and judges who have taken an interest in me, who have helped me on particular projects, on particular programs, or on issues. So micro-mentoring, mentoring, micro-mentoring. And on top of that, I know what has brought me here today is having a sponsor. And there's a difference between a mentor and a sponsor. Mentors help you be a better business person, a better lawyer, a better salesman, a better supervisor, a better artist, help you hone your skills. But a sponsor is something more. They are mentors, but they're really your advocate. They're your PR person. They're in your corner, and they're people in positions of influence, in positions of power, who suggest you for a position, who make specific introductions for you to meet the right people. They make it happen. And I know in my murky journey in the fog that I have been the beneficiary of many, many sponsors along the way. And so as I stand here on what I think is an idea worth spreading is for all of you to think about who are the people in your lives now? Who are the young people? Who can you affect in being a mentor, in being a sponsor? Think of the powerful pairings in the world. You know, when I think of mentor and sponsors, with the recent passing of Maya Angelou, she was a mentor to who? Oprah Winfrey. And look what she's accomplished. Another famous pairing is Professor Charles Ogletree from Harvard. Who did he mentor? Michelle and Barack Obama. How powerful it is for you to just take, you know, an hour of your time to buy a cup of coffee for a student, to have somebody shadow you in your office, or to really take somebody under your wing to be a mentor to them, but even more so, being a sponsor. If you take the time to do so, you will not only affect change in yourself and be more successful in your own right, but one, you can change the trajectory of a young person, and they could indeed change the world. So I challenge you as you sit here today, in the next couple of days, think about the people that you can help as a mentor and a sponsor. Thank you.